That's how you know I couldn't think of an intro for this video. Let's do it. Scream, or Scream 5, or 5 Cream? Scream 5, which is what I'm going to be calling it for the purposes of this video, because it's Scream 5, is a movie that is following the trend of all great franchises nowadays, where it's a sequel, but it has the same name of the original. Granted, this isn't like Halloween where it like erases all the other sequels, but you really couldn't tell if you hadn't seen those other sequels. You really couldn't tell. And let me tell you, for a January movie, I've had worse times at the theater, because I actually kind of enjoyed this movie. So let's get the big thing out of the way first. This is a Scream movie made for fans of the original Scream, and I feel like that is the ultimate thing to note, is that Screams 2, 3, and 4, which are movies that I've not seen, don't get as far. Again, I've not seen them, so there could be callbacks and such that I have missed, but for the most part, this movie focuses on stuff that happened in the original Scream. They mentioned Billy Loomis a lot, and I have seen that first one casually like twice. But even then, even as much as it focuses on the events of that first movie, most of the characters that they advertised would be returning, most of them aren't in the movie all that much. Sidney Prescott is in the movie for about 20 minutes. She's in the end, and she has a scene or two early on in the second act to kind of establish that she'll be returning to Woodsboro for that last fight. But really, in terms of the OG characters, this is Dewey's movie. He has the most play of all the OG returning characters in this movie. He also has a pretty cool fight with Ghostface at one point. But for the most part, this movie focuses on a new cast of characters, all of which I kind of settled into more than others. The ones that were big standouts to me were Richie, who is played by the guy who plays Huey in The Boys. I know his name, I just can't think of it off the top of my head, but he's a really good actor, and I hope he doesn't see this and get mad at me. The little sister, Tara, I thought she was really good in the movie. There's a pair of twins in the movie that don't really serve a whole lot, but especially the sister I thought was pretty funny. She had some of the better lines in the movie. But Samantha, the main girl that you're focusing on, I feel like she was the weakest link in terms of the new characters. Not in the fact that I think she was a poorly written character. I'm talking about mainly the acting. There were some moments where she had to sell emotions, and she didn't sell emotions. Speaking of emotions, this one got me hyped up more than it got me tense more than a few times, because if there is one thing that this movie absolutely nails, it is tension. There is a scene in a kitchen where Percy Jackson is like ultimately walking around the kitchen, and you just know Ghostface is there some way. The way that it's shot, the music, you just know Ghostface is around one of these corners. And they actually do a pretty cool thing in that scene where they fake you out, where it shows over his shoulder and there's just like a black jacket hanging on a wall behind him. And when I was watching, I was for sure, I was like, oh, there you go. No, that's not Ghostface. Oh well. And that entire final skirmish that they have with Ghostface at the end of the movie was really tense. Basically, any scene that Ghostface is in this movie is a really tense scene. And that's something I want to bring up as well. Ghostface in this movie is a real calculating, ruthless son of a bitch. This is not Ghostface that can be defeated by hitting him with a fridge door.
Look at this dude.
There is a scene where he is taunting someone over the phone, and it made my blood boil. Kind of one line that this guy was saying. So yeah, Ghostface was they nailed him. I thought they were really good. I liked the reveal of who Ghostface was, and that's something else that if a Scream film had to nail one thing of anything else, it's the whodunit aspect. And also, there were times where I'm sitting there and I'm like, I can eliminate you pretty quickly. Like, there were some that were pretty just like off the table immediately. For the most part, of the suspects that remained, which were quite a few of them, I thought the whodunit was really well executed. Even when the killer is revealed, I'm like, wouldn't have called that. In fact, I actually fucking crossed you off my list earlier in the movie. So that was really well done. I will say that something that this film kind of struggles with throughout is pacing. It's not a super blatant thing. Like when stuff is going down, it is fast paced. It is well done. A lot of the stuff in between those parts I thought were pretty well paced, but there were a few points, 1 or 2 or 3 points in this movie where it was feeling pretty slow, and I was like, okay, let's get back to it. Cinematography, I thought, was really well done. There is one shot where it's zooming out of a door, and you see like the main girl in the door, and it's kind of tilting. I believe they showed the shot in the trailer. That was a really cool shot that I enjoyed. There is a lot that I want to go over in a spoiler video, because I have thoughts on some things. Really, the negative things that I have to say, I know this review is going to come out sounding super like positive, like, oh my god, I loved this movie. It had issues, but I can't really get into what issues I had without going into spoiler territory. So I think for now I'm just going to say that as a whole, I did quite enjoy this movie. Having only seen the original, or having only seen the original to compare it to, I will say it's not as good as that first one. But I've not seen the others, so I can't rank them like that. So I'm gonna give my rating, and then once you've seen the movie, if you want to know what I think about the twists and the reveals and some of the more spoiler-ish things that I can't talk about here, which is where some of my bigger problems with this movie kind of come into the fold. Not the killer reveal. Again, I thought the killer reveal was pretty well done, but just some other stuff involving the main characters and how they relate to certain other characters from the old movies, is where I kind of start having problems with this movie. But by and all, I'm going to give, for casual viewers, I'm going to give Scream 5 a 7 out of 10. For critical viewers, I'm going to give Scream 5 a 7 out of 10 as well. And for me, I'm going to give this film a B-. So there you are. I hope you guys enjoyed my Scream 5 review. I know I probably wasn't as insightful, but that's just because I thought it was an enjoyable movie. I thought it was an okay movie. I thought it was a decent movie. And again, a lot of the stuff that I want to go into, I can't really. But I do recommend you see it. So, yeah. I hope you guys have a fantastic, tabalistic day. And I will see you guys next time. Ciao.